Hello and welcome back to the Essex Allotment Farm. My name is Alex. I'm the founder of the Essex Allotment Farm, which for its most part is a four seasons market garden that grows organic vegetables that we sell direct to end consumer through veg box service and farmers markets. This week I've been bringing you along with my working week to show you what's going on. I'm at one of my consultancy sites today working with a member of the team. It's in Malden. It's called the Tin Roof Cafe, where we grow on a quarter of an acre in a kitchen garden style that's open to the public, and it services fresh vegetables free from chemicals and pesticides that go into the kitchen and are used on a seasonal specials menu. I got that all out in the end. That was easier to say in my head than it was out loud. Anyway, I'm going to show you what we're up to today, so let's jump into the video. On this site, we're really lucky to have this huge greenhouse to use, where we obviously start our seeds off, especially this time of year. But this season, we've had some really patchy germination, and I think it's down to the seed compost, partly. It's not been great. Some of it we bought even had like actual stones in it, which was ridiculous, and that wasn't a multi-purpose compost, that was a seed compost. Some of it's down to the real fluctuating temperatures. So over the last 10 days, we've had lows overnight of -3, highs during the day of 19, 20. So this greenhouse is going up and down like a yo-yo. And I think that's that coupled with, we push the limits of what you can sow and when you can sow it here. We try and get early germination and use all sorts of tricks and techniques. And we do have some heat in this greenhouse. All those things combined have sort of resulted in some really patchy germination. Let me give you an example. So this is little gem lettuce, and it was sown on the 25th of the 1st. So as you can see by what we've got here, there's some really, really healthy young plants. They look great. They're ready to go out. It's one of the jobs that we're going to get done today, is I'm going to plant this out. But we're at like 50% germination in that tray. And I guess, like I said in the previous clip, this is a symptom of compost quality, but mainly fluctuating temperatures and, germination problems that you might have when temperatures are so volatile. And even in a heated greenhouse, this is getting down to 5 degrees overnight. So not ideal temperatures to be germinating seeds in just yet. So another problem you might get when you're doing it like this, so we're sowing 104 cells at a time, and this is like a red Mizuna mustard, is that you get seeds germinating at different times, maybe even up to a week apart. And so you get one tray that's got different amounts, plants that are either ready to be planted out in this instance, or have just germinated in this instance, and they're all in the same tray. So what we end up having to do, and we haven't had this before in large numbers, but this year it's been particularly bad for it, is pop out these larger ones and plant them out and leave these ones behind to catch up. But from a productivity point of view, that's not fantastic. It takes longer. It uses up valuable space in the greenhouse. And yeah, it's just not ideal. Look at that one. This is, 3 or 4 times the size of these in the same tray. Even some of our easier seeds to germinate. So peas are super easy to germinate. They're not temperamental at all. As long as you can keep them wet enough, they're going to germinate. But each of these had 2 or 3 peas in each cell. And you've got cells with only one germinating, like this one here. But then it's got another one creeping up here, which is miles behind. It's like over a week's worth of growth difference between the 2 peas in the same cell. Same with this. This is not a tray that we use very often, but we thought we'd give it a go and utilize it. So we've put 3 or 4 peas in each of these cells. And some of them are only just germinating. Some of them are a few days, a week ahead. And then some of them have done what we expect them to do, which is germinate all at a similar time. So yeah, it just creates a bit of a problem for productivity. Now lucky enough with these peas, they can just sit in here they're going to go outside and not in the polytunnel. So they can sit here for another week. Hopefully things will catch up and it will level out. But it's a problem that we've never really had before, certainly not to this level. And just to prove it's happening with all sorts, this is wok cabbage. So you've got big, healthy seedlings ready to go out in the ground. And in the same tray, saying at the same time, you've got tiny little ones like this. So again, we're going to have to do in the past, we've seen a little bit of this, but mainly we get, plants at a similar size and germinating at a similar time. But like I said, for all those reasons at the beginning of the video, I think we've had some real germination issues. I think it's probably more down to the temperature fluctuations. Those wok cabbages were sown on the 25th of the 1st as well. And yeah, some of them, like these ones, they'll have only germinated in the last few days. Whereas these ones, they've been solidly growing for a while. So yeah, like I said, sometimes you can have all this fancy equipment, this great greenhouse, and I'm not complaining by any stretch of the imagination. I'm very lucky to get to use this. We've got heat in here, we've got automatic vents on the windows, but you can do all of that stuff and still have pretty average results when it comes to seed germination. And like I said, we've only been in this commercial world for 4 seasons now, so we're still learning. But over the 4 seasons, this is the worst we've had it by an absolute mile for poor germination, or, what's the word I'm looking for? You're germinating over a long period of time, if that makes sense. I can't think of the phrase, but yeah, I think you get what I mean. So with all this fancy equipment, even with all this fancy equipment, and really looking after your seedlings the best way possible, you still sometimes just get it wrong. The last thing on seed germination, one thing I should say that we've had to get better at over the 2 seasons we've been here, is we germinate underneath. So they don't need light, or most things don't need light to germinate. So we put them under there. Space on the top is a premium, and then we see the first signs of germination, we bring them to the top. If we miss that, that's when it becomes a problem, because if we scoot around here, these are our calets, and you can see that they're quite tall and leggy. And all that's happened there is for 2 days, we missed the germination underneath, and they stayed with little or no light underneath for 2 days too long. We were late bringing them up. And they're, in just that 2 days, they've got really leggy. So we're going to have to be careful when watering them so we don't bash them, and obviously bury them a little bit deeper when we come to plant them out. As much as I'd love to, we can't hide in the greenhouse all day. We need to get out there and get some planting done. So let me take you out there with me. Just in case you're new to the channel, whilst I'm walking up there, I will do a little spin of the growing area. Obviously, when there's more stuff in the ground, I'll do a full tour and you'll get to see it in a bit more detail. All we've got down here is fig tree, strawberries, and some onions that we're growing from sets. But these are the 2 huge beds that we've got to grow in at the bottom here. Now, these beds didn't perform very well at all last season. We had to do some work with the drainage late on before we started growing. I think that affected the soil, so we've topped them up really heavy with a manure-based mulch. We grow mint in here, so we've chopped that down and mulched it in these tubs just to keep it under control so it doesn't go everywhere. You can just about see that this mint's not particularly exciting. Up the top, we've got 2 more huge beds, which you'll have seen in my last video if you've seen it. So we've got garlic and strawberry runners in here. If I spin you around, nothing in here. Again, I explained in a video earlier this week that we effectively shut this site down over winter. Decision we made with the management team, but now we're back up and running, and we've got these 2 huge polytunnels that you've seen in the background. Let me just open this up. We're planting these out now, and you've seen, if you watch my last vlog where I was at this site, we've got spinach, mustard greens, onions, some strawberry runners that we need to move, more mustard, some pak choy, bak choy, stuff like that. But yeah, stuff's growing really well already in here. This is the earliest stuff we put in, which is a sort of red Mizuna. We could probably pick that now. We haven't got huge quantities of it because the rest of it's got to catch up. Yet more strawberry runners. If anyone needs any strawberry runners, come and just... No, I can't say that really. Anyway, we've got more strawberry runners than we know what to do with. But the growth in here is like really kicking on. So that's like a pak choy variety. We'll get a harvest of that quickly before it comes too hot in here and it bolts. Same with the spinach all across the back wall. That was only planted out at the beginning of the week. So the growth is really, really good. It's grown really, really quickly. We'll be harvesting off that in a few weeks. And like I said, more Mizuna down here. It probably looks the best of the lot. But yeah, this will look fantastic in here in a few weeks' time when everything else has caught up. There's another look down towards the cafe. The cafe is that huge building over here. Very busy this morning, very busy. So huge growing space. We've got all this grassy area that we can grow in eventually. The owner is happy for us to expand into this over the coming seasons. And then this is the left-hand polytunnel, which has got nothing in it, but we're going to be planting in that today. Right, a couple of things there. Yes, we have got a golf cart here to help us move stuff about. It's about 200 metres from the greenhouse to the top of where the polytunnels are. So when we carry multiple trays, that does save a little bit of time, not tons, but a little bit. And I've planted out the little gem that we showed you earlier in the video. So two things. Let me spin you around first of all. It's super, super, super hot in here. We've got quite a thick layer of mulch on. So if I can get this to focus, we've planted them really deep. So I've dipped really deep holes. That's for a couple of reasons. It gives the plants a bit of protection. When they're younger like this, it actually gives them a bit of shade so that they don't get too hot in this polytunnel early doors and burn off before they root down into the wetter water or wetter soil underneath, should I say. The second thing is with it being really, really dry in here and getting really, really hot already, the water pools in the little puddles and make sure that they get some moisture when they're really young and haven't got a big root system yet. So that's the two reasons we plant really, really deep. I think Charles Dowding is a real advocate of this particular way of planting things out. Second thing I want to show you is that tray. So 30 plants is all we got out of that 104. So there's a couple in there. We won't bother keeping those. But yeah, 104 cells and 30 plants went in the ground. So from a productivity point of view, it should have been 3 times. Even 90 is a conservative out of a 104 cell tray. We would be expecting 90 plants out of each tray, really viable ones when it comes to planting, and we got 30. So that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video. Really, really, really poor germination early in the season. Right, I'm back here at the weekend, so I'll show you what it looks like when we've got it all planted out later in the week. Thanks for joining me in this video. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.